What if everything we thought we knew about military strength and global alliances is about to be turned upside down? It started as a ceremonial parade but turned into a geopolitical warning that's impossible to ignore. On September 3, 2025, in the heart of Beijing's Tiananmen Square, China staged a large-scale military parade that sent shockwaves across the international community. Was this just for show, or is it a sign of something much larger, potential realignment of world power? Do you think China, Russia, and North Korea could unite into a new axis of global influence? Yes or no? Leave your thoughts in the comments. In this report from Epoch Report, we break down what this parade reveals and why it matters to everyone watching the fragile balance in East Asia and beyond. Because what's buried in the symbols, weapons, and alliances paraded that day could reshape not just the future of the Taiwan Strait, but the global order itself. Let's dive in. The first signal came not from the tanks or missiles, but from the calendar. China's military parade was deliberately timed for September 3rd, an official holiday, commemorating the end of the Second Sino-Japanese War. It marks the 80th anniversary of what China calls its victory over Japanese aggression. Since 2015, this date has been set aside for ceremonies that blend historical trauma, nationalist pride, and the Communist Party's claim to legitimacy. And in 2025, this timing is even more strategic. It's the final year in China's 14th five-year plan, in part of the nation's broader push towards its second centenary goal, which aims to make China a fully modern, strong socialist power by 2049. In other words, this wasn't just a parade. It was a staged performance to signal strength, unity, and ideological continuity with the party, the People's Liberation Army, and Xi Jinping at the center. Domestically, the parade served clear political purposes. First, it bolstered Xi Jinping's personal authority. With full control of China's Central Military Commission, Xi used the parade to reinforce the image that the nation's military is firmly under his command. Second, it was aimed at rallying nationalism. By emphasizing historical victories, the government hoped to offset economic uncertainty and rising domestic dissatisfaction. Third, it was designed to demonstrate internal stability. Amid slowing growth and rising youth unemployment, the image of a disciplined, loyal military helps project a calm, controlled authority over China's domestic affairs. Finally, it adds momentum to the Chinese dream by showcasing progress toward China's strong army. Strong nation vision meant to inspire public confidence in the country's global trajectory. The 2025 parade deepened China's narrative of rising from humiliation to rejuvenation. Through the visuals and speeches, we saw three themes repeated: resistance against foreign invasion, national revival, and military empowerment. It was a choreographed reminder that China sees itself as historically wronged, but increasingly capable of defending its sovereignty and interests if needed by force. The message to the domestic audience was clear. Peace is preferred but not guaranteed. If China must stand alone and strengthen itself, it will. This idea of forced self-reliance acts as both warning and justification for future military actions, including in the Taiwan Strait. Then came the technical showcase, and it was extensive. Among the highlights: intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic glide vehicles, joint force command systems, stealth-enabled drones, and amphibious assault hardware. Here's what stood out. DF-41 ICBM, with a range over 12,000 kilometers. This missile can reach the U.S. mainland and carry multiple warheads. It serves as a credible nuclear deterrent aimed squarely at the United States. DF-17 hypersonic missile, designed to travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound, it can evade radar and missile defense systems. Analysts believe it's targeted at Japan, Taiwan, and U.S. assets in the Pacific. Unmanned combat aerial vehicles UCAVs like the GJ-11 displayed advanced stealth design and long-range strike capability. These drones are thought to be aimed at Taiwan and Japan, positioning them as key tools in any future conflict across the strait. Amphibious assault systems. These directly hint at a Taiwan contingency. The sheer number of amphibious vehicles was interpreted by regional analysts as not just symbolics, but an operational statement. If you're still watching, you're not here for surface-level headlines. Dig deeper with Epoch Report. Click to follow our channel and turn on notifications. In just 10 minutes a day, will help you anticipate the geopolitical trends that are reshaping the world into your future. The most direct messaging wasn't abstract, it was geographic. Toward Taiwan, the parade showcased China's ability and political will to enforce what it calls reunification, potentially by military means. It was a clear psychological operation aimed at Taipei's leadership and public, particularly under President Lei Ching-te, toward Japan. The implication was equally assertive. Any cooperation with U.S. efforts in the East or South China Sea would meet with a swift and robust Chinese response. China even included equipment tailored to counter electronic warfare and airspace control skills it would need if Taiwan were defended by Japan or U.S.-led forces. Beyond the battlefield, the guest list told its own story. Present were Presidents Putin of Russia and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. The visual optics alone, three controversial leaders standing side by side, sparked global discussion. But that wasn't all. Leaders or senior representatives from Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia also joined, signaling what might be seen as China's attempt to lead a regional coalition, paralleling NATO but with an Asian focus. This evolving bloc could become key in shaping regional diplomacy and trade, but could also heighten polarity between a China-led zone and a U.S.-defined alliance system. We may be witnessing the early architecture of a new world alignment. Let's zoom in on specific hardware. J-2OS fighter jet plus loyal wingman UAVs. The J-2OS, a dual-seat stealth fighter, was seen flying with 4 mid-range drones in formation. This pairing a manned fighter, controlling several unmanned extensions, is a combat model aimed at overwhelming U.S. F-202s and F-35s. Unmanned submarines. Rumors swirled that the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Reagan had been quietly tailed by a Chinese unmanned submarine months prior. The new generation of underwater drones can lurk for weeks without surfacing patrolling. The waters near Japan's Yokosuka base, Korea's Gunsan, or the Philippines' Subic Bay. Laser and counter-drone defenses. China also flexed real-world applications of laser-based air defense systems capable of neutralizing low-cost drones at a fraction of a traditional missile's price. These tools could shield Chinese bases from swarm attacks. Unmanned ground vehicles. A chilling addition was the Robot Assault Tima remote-controlled vehicle, deploying 4 robotic quadrupeds and a small drone overhead. In close-quarters urban combat, such a system could infiltrate, scout, and engage targets before any human soldier enters the fray. This military parade wasn't just theater. It was messaging in motion. Aimed at domestic audiences, it promised strength during economic headwinds. But for international observers, it unveiled where China sees its future: militarily modernized, politically assertive, and prepared for conflict if it comes. U.S. estimates suggest China could move militarily on Taiwan by 2027. While we don't claim certainty over dates, it's clear the timeline is compressing. Each signal matters. Let's take a moment to zoom out. What we're watching isn't just a military review, it's part of a new power competition, no longer based only on the nuclear arms race or traditional diplomacy. Now, it's digital warfare. Unmanned systems, maritime control, logistical supremacy. China's strategy is becoming asymmetrical. Think drone swarms, electromagnetic warfare, and artificial intelligence blended with human pilots. One of the most talked about formations was a J-2OS fighter jet accompanied by 4 mid-range unmanned drones, reportedly capable of coordinated attack. It's not just stealth, it's swarm-enabled dominance. This represents China's move into next-generation combat, a realm where the lines between offense and defense blur. It gets more surreal, in ways that may define 21st-century battlefields. We saw unmanned ground vehicles deployed alongside 4-legged robotic units. Think robotic dogs programmed for urban assault. Mounted above them, surveillance drones provided real-time recon. If you hesitate, you reveal your position. If you fire, they've already seen you. This is the logic of modern war. Ambushes don't happen in shadows. They unfold on screens. And China's building a doctrine around it. Alongside that, the parade hinted at yet-to-be-deployed drone motherships. One such prototype spotted last year was capable of carrying over 100 drones for release mid-flight, able to reach places like Guam or even Hawaii. This wasn't in the parade. likely still in development, but its absence tells us it's coming. Now let's evaluate attendance and what it means diplomatically. Most of Europe stayed away. Canada and Australia were absent, as expected. Japan and South Korea did not attend, though South Korea did send a parliamentary official. Southeast Asia had stronger representation, with many leaders from Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and Indonesia attending. Indonesia's president even returned from domestic unrest just to make it. Why? Because alignment is fluid. Nations signal loyalty not through treaties alone, but by showing up. And China wanted this global stage to reflect an alternate axis, not necessarily anti-West, but independent of it. Interestingly, former President Trump, often vocal on Chinese policy, responded subtly. While he didn't attend, and predictably wouldn't, given ideological divides among Western allies. His response was noteworthy. He didn't condemn the parade as aggressive or inflammatory. Instead, he posted online that a country once shed blood to keep China from being bullied on. That country was America. It was a nuanced statement, possibly acknowledging China's rise while reasserting U.S. historical influence. His silence on condemnation may reflect recognition of a shifting power dynamic in the possibility of future engagement. Ultimately, this is about preparation, not provocation. Our analysis at Epoch Report doesn't argue whether the parade was moral or efficient, but whether it was strategic. In our view, the message was clear. Deterrence is the new diplomacy. By investing in unmanned versatility, hypersonic speed, and next-gen formations, China is establishing a doctrine designed to avoid war through overwhelming potential. And ironically, that might be the best-case scenario, because the real danger comes when leaders believe they have nothing to lose. But nations that prepare broadly tend to avoid costly miscalculations. Whether this doctrine leads to confrontation or coexistence, that's the story unfolding now. I want to hear your take. Is this emerging axis between China, Russia, and North Korea a growing force or simply an uneasy alignment of convenience? Do you think this parade shows China is preparing for war, trying to prevent one? Let us know in the comments below. I read everyone. If you found value in this analysis, don't just click to follow and turn on the bell icon. Timing matters, especially in an age of fast-moving geopolitics. With Epoch Report, you'll spot the signs of global change before they become front-page news. Stay informed, stay ahead. We'll see you in the next report.